live exemplarily, love authentically, and lead relationally. This is the Inspired Family Leader Program with Samuel A. Bakutana, your host, a certified executive coach, an award-winning leadership consultant, global speaker and author, the CEO of Inspired Leaders International, and the Provincial Fathers Union President. What a joy to have you this morning, this afternoon, this evening, depending on where you are watching us from around the world. This is a program that seeks to encourage, challenge, inspire and equip men so that they can be able to expand their capacity for family leadership. So that when they do that, who knows, together we can cause community transformation, social transformation, national transformation. Today, we are talking about an interesting topic. One that you don't usually hear people talking about, yet many people are experiencing it. And it is something that we need to talk about. I have a friend of mine who recently got married, and after getting married, just a few days after that, he went back to the Middle East to go and continue the job. And so the wife is at home wondering whether she is married or not, feeling like a single woman even when she is already married. Today we are talking about the long distance marriage. The long distance marriage. How do you go about it to make it work once you are in one? And to help us unravel the intricacies of this topic is none other than somebody who was once in a long-distance marriage, who has experienced it in different seasons of his life, somebody who is a husband, a father, a fellow man, a great gentleman who empowers people, a parenting coach, a children's advocate, a marriage counselor, my friend and my brother, Mr. Dickson Tumuramye. Dickson, you are very welcome.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bakutana.
How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. How about you?
I am awesome. I'm ebullient. I'm doing well.
That's interesting.
It's good to have you here today.
I'm also very happy to be here.
There was some time ago when we wanted to come and be together, but then it wasn't possible. So here today, it's good to have you.
Finally, God has made it.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah,
how is your home? How is family?
I can say family is very okay.
Yes.
My children, my wife, they're all very okay. Right now, I think they're also watching and seeing what is happening.
Okay.
Yeah, so we are okay.
So go right ahead and introduce yourself to the audience, to the people who are viewing us. Who are you? Tell us something about yourself.
Thank you so much. My name is Dickson Tumuramye, as you've heard. I am a child advocate, a parenting coach. I am also a marriage counselor. But I also work with Ghana Christian University as assistant registrar in the Directorate of Postgraduate Studies. I also have an NGO that I started recently, so I'm the executive director of Hope Regional Africa. It's an NGO that's taking care of orphans and vulnerable children, and so we are trying to make sure that we bring hope back to those who have lost hope, those vulnerable children, and even women who no longer have hope in their lives.
How about men who are also vulnerable? Those ones you don't give
No,
them
actually,
attention?
Men, I am so much passionate about men because I am also a leader of
Men of Purpose program.
And the reason why I started Men of Purpose is because as men, with people think that we're not vulnerable. So
Yes.
the focus is always on the girl child.
Yes.
They think that when you have empowered the girl child,
Yes.
then you have done everything. But you forget that the person you're leaving behind, this
Yes.
boy child, is also vulnerable in his own way. And tomorrow, if not very well empowered, he will not be able to take care of your daughter because he won't become a husband.
He will probably disempower the empowered girl.
That is true.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't know what to do, he's not well informed. When a girl is well empowered and she has all the skills, she understands what to do, the gentleman here doesn't know anything.
Yes.
Because the gentleman has no mentor, the gentleman has no coaches because the girls have the same.
What is koja? Especially to help our Australian viewers.
The uncles who should be giving advice.
Yes.
And the aunties who should be giving advice to this girl.
Yes.
This young man. For them, as the girls have the aunties who are helping.
Yes.
Who are called the stingers in Uganda. Now the boy child does not have anyone who is mentoring him, guiding him on how should be moving on with
Alright.
life. So that creates a gap.
Okay.
And so I'm so much passionate about them. So as we are looking at this organization, it's going to be helping every vulnerable person. Make sure if you have anything that you're not very much empowered, then we shall help you to be empowered. If you have any problem, we shall be helping you to get back to where you're supposed to be.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you so much.
I've been seeing a number of things happening around your life concerning empowering, children, empowering men, and so on and so forth under the Men of Purpose program.
That's true.
So thank you for adding value to the lives of many people.
It's my pleasure.
And it's for that reason that you are on this program today, because we thought that you have a lot to share with our viewers.
And I'm here.
Yes. So this is a leadership program at the core. It's a leadership program. It focuses on leading the family. That's why it's called the Inspired Family Leader program. So let's begin from there. In your own view, just in general terms, what would you call leadership?
I think in general terms, leadership is the act of guiding or an action of giving a direction, causing an influence. A group of people with an organization, and most especially giving a strategic direction that leads to achieving a certain goal.
Yes.
Basically, that's what I can say about leadership. So it's you as a leader, you must make sure that you are someone who is giving a clear direction to take people somewhere, or an organization somewhere, to reach a certain goal in a certain period of time.
Yes.
Yes.
Not just being on march past and
No.
being active, but without having a direction.
Yeah, so you must be having a direction, knowing where am I going, where am I. So there must be a purpose, there must be a vision, there must be a clear mission, and of course objectives, so that they can guide you in doing what you're intending to do, and then not just doing anything. And then
You must be having a project management background somewhere.
Yeah, that's true.
Because I hear the choice of words.
Yeah.
Yeah, so leadership being the act of guiding, giving direction, causing influence, giving people strategic direction towards the achievement of a predefined goal.
Yeah.
Interesting. So now that this is family leadership, what would you call family leadership in that case?
Family leadership is still giving direction and clear guidance to your family.
Yes.
And of course, a family may be a nuclear family or an extended family, depending on which kind of family you're leading. But at the end of the day, they want to see you as a leader. Are you causing an influence in your life? In the life of your family?
Yes.
Are you causing a change, a clear transformation? Is that a unique difference from other families? Because you must have a clear direction that makes your family more special and unique from other families.
Some uniqueness of some families is quite negative, so maybe a positive uniqueness.
A positive uniqueness, yeah, because we are looking at you achieving a clear goal that is positive, not just a bad goal. Because a leader must be trying to achieve a positive goal, not a negative goal at the end of the day. Yes, so as a family person, as a father, as a mother, we are looking at you as a person who is giving that guidance to your family.
Yes.
Especially if you're a husband, that means you're giving it to your wife and then to your children. And even the wives, they're also giving guidance to their husbands because they're helpers,
yes,
they're companions.
They work together,
yes,
towards that direction.
So
yes,
that means there must be a clear vision. Of course, there are families which, by the way, don't have vision and mission, so they're just there. Yes, we are a family, but they don't know where they are going, maybe. But there must be a clear vision for you as a family man, you as a father of the family.
All right.
Have a clear vision of your family and know where your family is going, and let it be known by everyone in your home.
Okay. So as a husband, as a father, you need to have that clear direction and vision for the family. So our topic today is the long distance marriage. Yes. As simple as that and as complicated as it sounds. The long distance marriage. So we don't want to assume that we are on the same frequency, that we are on the same lane, that we are on the same page as far as understanding what that is concerned. So just to make it clear, what is a long distance marriage?
A long distance marriage is where a married couple stays apart from each other. You're married, but you don't stay together on a daily basis or on a regular basis. So because you are apart physically,
yes,
from one another, and especially for a given period of time, then that causes it to be a long distance marriage.
Mm.
Yeah, because a couple should be staying together every day.
A couple should be staying together. Could you
Every
first
day.
say something more about that, please?
Now, when you get married
Mm-hmm.
and you're now a husband and a wife, that means you should be staying with your wife daily. Actually, when you read the Bible, by the way, the honeymoon was for 1 year.
Exactly, yeah. I know that biblically,
Yes.
a man was not allowed to go out there to do anything, to fight battles after marriage until the end of 1 year.
1 year.
The honeymoon was 1 year.
But now, because of so many reasons,
it is 1 hour.
even as that's true, immediately you just finish the party. Some people just say, you know what? Now that we have finished,
Yes.
please, you know the job is demanding or something
Yeah.
is demanding. Bye.
Yes.
See you another time.
Mm.
And then there's no any kind of bonding.
The
nothing.
drama begins.
The drama begins immediately.
So, in other words, you're saying the original design of marriage was that husband and wife should be living together. Okay.
Because you see, the Bible says that when you're reading Genesis chapter 2, especially verse 24, that a man shall leave his father and mother and be joined to his wife, and the two shall become one. That means it's instead of leaving, you leaving your parents, then you come to stay with your husband or with your wife.
Yes.
And then that means you're cleaving. So as you cleave, you become one flesh. So that oneness that brings you together.
Yes.
So now, when that oneness that should be putting you together daily now gets apart, and of course we know our vows. Say nothing should do what?
It put us, apart,
Yeah,
separate
apart,
us,
yeah.
apart
You
from
put the
death.
sun- yeah, sun now here. Some things just cause a what? That separation. Yeah, and that causes the distance between us.
Yes.
Begin getting apart and apart
Yes.
and apart. And some people actually get apart, and before they know it, it becomes a very wide apart.
It's too apart
indefinite
to make sense.
Separation.
Oh.
Yeah.
And yes, it has happened.
Yeah, it has happened.
And that makes me want to ask, what are some of the common reasons why people end up in long distance marriages? Let me put you on spot. If I know this very well, if I did my homework well, I know that as soon as you wedded on the, was it 20th of November?
Of November.
On 20th of November 2010?
2010, yeah.
2010, on the 20th of November 2010, as soon as that happened, about a week later, right? There was long distance marriage started. Am I right?
Very right. You know what was interesting?
What was your reason, and what are the reasons for others that get them into long distance marriages?
Just give it a short background.
Yes.
That time, by the time I met with my wife, she's called Dickson Tumuramye,
Yes.
and that time we were both working in compassion projects.
But in different centers.
Yeah, she was in Kunjiri, I was in
You were in
Sheni.
Mitoma.
Yes. So by then, as time went on, she got a job with the Uganda Christian University, Kabari.
Okay, Bishop Baramu University.
Yeah, university. So there we kept in touch, and things are moving on. But by the time towards our wedding, which was August, she got a job now in Mukono at the main campus, UC main campus. And then our little wedding was just in October. So November. So immediate after wedding, she was, because we wedded on 20th, it went to go for honeymoon, and she was supposed to be reporting on 1st December. So that means basically we are together for like less than 10 days, because you're up and down, this and that is happening.
Yes.
So there was shifting, of course, from Shenyi after the honeymoon. So we were in honeymoon for 4 days, not even longer days. So then we came. We had to shift. Then when I brought her here, immediately I had to go back to resume work, because I was on leave. I was moving up and down.
So you were about 400 kilometers apart.
So
after 1 week of marriage.
After 1 week of marriage. So you can imagine. So that was the first phase of our distant marriage.
Yes.
And went on for more than 6 months. Until then later I got a job and came this side.
Okay.
When I got a job, I was in compassion. I first went to Entebbe. I was commuting from Mukono to Entebbe.
Yes.
Then after 1.5 years, now I got a transfer, and I went to Buyukwe.
Yes, deep in the village
Village, yeah, Makindu Church
far away
Development
from the
Center,
city center.
So still there, I was now staying there, and I would come over the weekend. That was another kind of distance marriage.
It became a weekly meeting.
In 2016, she was going for further studies.
And by that time, you had 3 children already.
I had 3 children.
And the eldest was 4.
4. And then the youngest was around, was less than a year, around 11 months. So she went for further studies. So coming back to your question, what are the common causes of distance marriage? One, it's work, as we've had. For me, the first one was work. Because these days people are looking, they have to survive. They have to earn a living.
I hope they will go beyond surviving and they go to thriving.
Okay, thriving. Let me say thriving. But you know, it begins with survival, then you go to thriving. When things have become better and normal.
Yes.
So that causes many people to be apart. And that's actually
so jobs.
Jobs. Looking for jobs here and there, or sometimes comes by choice or transfer. So find that because of that, the employment has caused that. Also, as I have talked of career advancement or further studies, especially people who are studying from far away, maybe far away from your district or your home, or maybe abroad, and those, especially those who go for PhDs or masters. You know, most of the PhDs are 3 years and above. So now imagine you have gone for a PhD of 3 years or 4 years,
and it's full time.
And it's full time, study. And if you don't have maybe if you don't have scholarship or you don't have full scholarship that allows you to come back home, check on your family after a given period of time, it becomes worse. You can even take 3 years without coming back. You come back until the course is over.
Yes.
Others,
so career advancement.
Career advancement. Also, when it comes to jobs, the other people who go out or who are out of their homes because of special assignments.
Special assignments.
Now,
yes.
like, look at the doctors. Look at army men.
Yeah.
Now, as we know that we have some men, some soldiers from Uganda who are in other countries like Somalia, South Sudan.
Yeah, last Sunday I met a lady who told me about the same. The husband is far away in West Africa, and here we are in East Africa.
Yeah, you can imagine.
And it's been there for quite some good time.
That's another challenge. Now
on a special mission.
On a special mission, you're the doctor, and then there's now a border. In Muvende, now you know what we want you, because you're an expert. We want you in Muvende.
Okay.
That is another. That's another reason for distance marriage. But also health. Health-wise, you could maybe find that one of you is sick.
Yes.
And maybe have to seek a special
medical attention.
Yeah, medical attention from either within or outside. That can also create that challenge of a gap.
I thought you would go together. This is your wife or this is your husband. You give him or her to other people to take?
It depends. Now, for example, you might find that you are supposed to be going to. Let me give an example. You have someone who, like, for example, you have a child who's sick, and the child is supposed to be going to maybe to Mbale. There's that children's clinic in Mbale, and there I'm told they only allow one caretaker.
Yes.
So now, if you're both parents, that means they can't allow both parents. They can't. They allow one person.
Yes.
So now, if a child is on a special treatment, that means, and for a long time, maybe 3 months, because depending on the condition, or maybe more than a month, that would mean that is that distance. But also, you know, when you're going out of the country for special treatment, sometimes you don't have money, especially when it comes to cancer treatment. You've had couples who have separated, who have gone one of them because of money, or because one has to take care of the family here.
Yes.
So that also can cause that challenge.
Okay.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's jobs, sometimes career advancement like further studies, sometimes special assignments, and sometimes
imprisonment also
health.
By the way.
Which one?
Imprisonment.
Imprisonment.
Now, if your husband is imprisoned or your wife is imprisoned,
now
automatically there will be that physical distance between the two of them.
And it's also still long distance marriage.
Now, what do we call it?
It's like,
because the two of you are apart, much as you're married. So that's also kind of
yes,
distance marriage.
Long distance marriage. All right, thank you very much. So, people who are watching us, we are going to be taking a very brief break. And then when we get back, we are going to understand what are the common problems that those people who are in long distance marriages often face. And we will also get to understand the impact of long distance marriages on children, and then look at how we can actually make it work. Here I have my brother, a parenting coach, a marriage counselor, and a children's advocate, Mr. Dickson Tumuramye, who is the assistant registrar at Uganda Christian University. Once again, you're welcome, Dickson.
Thank you so much.
When we took a break, you had just explained the common reasons why many people find themselves, or why many people get into long-distance marriages. Now, what are some of the common problems that those who are in long-distance marriages face? What are some of the common struggles? Because you are a marriage counselor, I believe that a number of them have come to you. So, and anyway, you also were in a long distance marriage. So what are some of the struggles that you experienced?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Bakutana. Struggles actually that are very many. Because in this long distance marriage, some people don't communicate. Or even when they communicate, the communication is not very effective.
Yes.
And consistent. So there's that poor and bad communication that happens along the way. And of course, when there's that poor communication, it creates a gap. And as it creates a gap, there's also always mistrust.
Mistrust.
Because you're not sure why someone is not communicating, why communication is not very clear.
Why is she silent these days? Why is my husband, he used to send me messages every morning.
That's what is happening.
Now these are 2 days.
2 days, there's a lot of silence.
I think he got another girl there.
So now when that comes in, as you develop mistrust, and then suspicion, also, and that suspicion, most of them are now become unfaithful.
Infidelity and faithfulness.
And faithfulness also come in. For you know it, of course you have had stories. Someone comes back and the wife is pregnant.
Yet, the man left for like 5 months ago,
yes.
And the woman has a pregnancy of 3 months.
3 months.
Holy Ghost.
So you end up, losing it. And also another challenge that now, of course, as you are apart physically, you lose intimacy.
Yes, loss of intimacy.
And of course, it becomes worse when this intimacy, because when the two people come together, there should be, especially when married people, sexual intimacy is a part of what makes this marriage thrive.
Yes.
Now,
even in some languages, by the way, the word they use for marriage connotes intercourse. You go to Western Uganda and ask, what do you call marriage? Which has a lot to do with the bedroom matters.
So now when the bedroom matters, actually the core thing is almost when the bedroom, even when you're staying together and the things are not working,
yes,
then that means the marriage will always be struggling. Now imagine if you are far apart for many years,
you lose intimacy.
You lose it. And of course another change that when you are far apart, even socially and emotionally, you create a gap. And especially when you have emotional gap also comes in. Then when you have children now, it becomes worse. Because they can't see daddy.
Yes.
They don't know whether even, some of them even don't know that daddy exists. They only hear about the name. Now for me what happened actually when my wife came back from her father's studies, she came and then our child had made 1.5 years, more than 1.5 years. Now when she entered the house, because we were chatting on video, and so the child could at least see and hear the voice. Now the person comes physically. My daughter, she's called Deborah. Now she's 7 years. She looked at the mother. The first thing she got excited. After like 1 or 2 minutes, the face changed and she took off.
Why?
Immediately. Because she doesn't know this person very well. Maybe she's a stranger, and so now I think insecurity came in. I have another friend of mine who were together in the fellowship, and we were sharing that he would come even after 2 weeks. The children would say, they would come and say, "Uncle, come back." Then the mother is explaining, "No, this is your dad." Then he's also trying to be able to explain, "You know, my children, I'm your dad," and these were 4 or 5 years old children. So the man got troubled and he left the job. So now imagine your children, your own children are calling you auntie, they're calling you uncle. They're looking at you as a stranger, yet you're the one supporting them.
The house girl, the house help, the maid is the one they call mommy.
Now this is the one called mommy. And imagine you're the mother, but this one is now the maid.
The driver is the one who is the daddy.
Yeah, the driver is the one.
No wonder after some time he plays the daddy roles if you're not careful.
If you're not careful, and before you know it, your child is pregnant. If you have another child. I have a friend of mine, actually last night we were on the fellowship and we were sharing with us that when you had gone for further studies, actually just here within Uganda, but then at the time of giving birth he was not at home. So when he came back after 6 months, the child was old, and the child also was looking at him as uncle. Now the child is 23 years right now, but there's no connection.
Because he lost the window of opportunity, those first few months of a child's development.
Actually, they said the child bonds with the parents and develops in everything, personality and all. in the first 5 years. So now if the child has failed to develop relationship with you in the first 5 years, you will hardly bring this child close to you. I think that's why in hospitals, every time a mother gives the birth, they just first make the child, put the child in the chest of the what?
Yes.
With the mother.
To have some connection. Immediate connection. Bonding. Yeah. When we gave birth to our second born, our son, the first born, there are some things I hadn't known. There are some things I hadn't learned. There are some things I didn't know as a man, as a father. But by the time we got our second born, our son Prosper, I was already equipped in many areas as a parent. I was already knowing many things, and one of the things I already knew was that I need to bless my child at birth. There are 7 stages where a human being is supposed to actually be officially blessed by a parent. By the parent. You know, at conception,
especially the father who is a spiritual leader.
Yes, the father. So at conception, when my dear wife gave birth to our son, then they gave her the child, put the child here. After about 2 minutes, I said, now give me my son. So they gave me the boy. So I also got him, put him here, and started to talk with him. I introduced myself like I was giving a speech.
Yes.
I said, my son, my name is Samuel Bakutana. I am your father. I am the one you've been hearing talking to you and to mommy when you were in mommy's womb. And now that you are here, we've really been waiting for you, and I'm glad you are here. I am going to look after you. I am going to love you. You are my dear beloved son in whom I am well pleased, and I am going to provide for you, protect you. I will be a good dad to you.
So now,
after blessing him and saying those words, and he was silent, like he was really listening,
as if
like as if he was getting everything. Then I took him back to the midwife to continue everything they were doing. I felt like I had done a very profound thing at that very point. To make an immediate connection, to hear this voice of a man speaking to him, and to know that there is a male voice here.
Yeah, and that's the way to go. Because this is your blood, this is your body, this is your everything. So basically, you just duplicate yourself in another human being. Much as you meant to be the same, the color may be different, whatever, but at least this is your own human being.
Of course.
Yeah.
So in other words, people who are in these long distance marriages, most times they face a challenge of poor or bad communication. Which causes a gap that brings mistrust that may cause infidelity. They also face loss of intimacy. There is an emotional gap. And sometimes their children live like orphans when the parents are still alive. And that takes me to dig a little bit deeper concerning the aspect of children. In your view, you are a children's advocate. You've worked with Compassion International for many years. Your wife, Prim, is right now the communication specialist for Compassion International African region. Children, what is the impact of the long-distance marriages on children?
Now, we have already talked about that kind of loss of intimacy and the bonding between you and your children.
Yes.
And that's the most traumatizing thing, by the way. And now, also, you as a parent, when you're not living with your children, you will never understand them. Because you are supposed to be helping them to mold them into what you want them to be. Now, they are being shaped by secondary parent, either TV or the housemaid or any other person, not you yourself. That means the values that you do have wanted to instill in your children, the things you have wanted to see in your children, they are not there.
Yes.
Because someone else is doing it on your behalf and is doing it the way they want.
Yes.
Remember, we talked about a family having a vision. So that means if you're not there, especially when you're a father, children will never understand the vision you have for them. They'll never understand what is happening because you're not there to give them guidance and clear direction. So you lose that from the word go. Again, children will always be there in kind of uncertainty and insecurity because they're not very sure what is going on. Much as it's like even when you're there by the way, we have parents who are present physically but absent.
Exactly. They talk of absenteeism, but I call that presentism.
Yes.
You are present, but you are really absent.
You're not felt by your own children because you come, you either go to the bedroom or you disappear to the farm or you, even during the weekend,
You put legs on the table and watch TV.
And watch TV.
And they are
There's no
removing
connection
socks there.
between you and your parents. So you're also like kind of living a distant marriage with your children, a distant parenting
relationship
with your children. So now when that
so
happens,
that gives them insecurity.
Because they're not able to know that you know this is what my dad wants. So character building becomes a challenge for you as a father. But also children also lose out on what should be shaping them because they don't have their dad who should be mentoring them and being their role model. That also becomes a challenge. Again, when it comes to parenting, we have talked about secondary parenting. We now know the changes of secondary parenting. We have heard of maids or houseboys who come in our houses and they are teaching our children bad models of sexuality, especially when it comes to sexual abuse.
Yes.
So your children are at the risk of being abused by this other person because it's not very, very compassionate like you as a parent. That also becomes another challenge. That you as a parent, if you're there, maybe this wouldn't have happened.
Yes.
But also we have heard of couples who, because of, you know, they said out of sight is out of mind. Now, if your children are not seeing you, that means they will never know you. So even as they are growing up, they also think maybe that's how life should be.
Yes.
And when they also grow up, they will think...
So it becomes wrong modeling for your children.
For your children. And they don't bother whether you're there or not. They don't understand. They don't even communicate to you. So there's that kind of gap that you create, which may be very hard for you to build and bridge if you're not very intentional and deliberate.
And honestly, as you say all these things, in my mind I'm saying, could it be that maybe there is a point where we need to sacrifice some of these opportunities in order to keep our grip on the opportunity of staying together as husband and wife and also as parent and children? Is there that point where we should say, well, the opportunity for making more money has come, but I will not take it? Well, there is a better job, but for the sake of being with my family, I choose not to take that on. I will find a way how to still work and look after my family. Is there that point of sacrifice, or as long as there is an opportunity, we jump on it?
That point is there, and it is you, the parent, to make that choice. Personally, where I work from, I work at Uganda University, and I stayed just very near the university.
Yes.
Like 2 kilometers from the university. I have had opportunities of jobs up country, which could be paying better than what I'm earning right now. But I asked myself, when I lost this opportunity of mentoring my children at this stage, will I gain it tomorrow? So it's about money, because you know, as I'm not only parenting my children, but I'm also building other things alongside with them.
Yes.
Make sure they are also developing other skills outside the formal kind of setting. You know, it's not about taking them to school. So I'm also helping them to develop these other informal skills, and we do them during the weekend or public holidays, or even in the evenings.
Yes.
So now it's at this time that children can be well mentored, because there's this saying that you bend a tree when it's still very young.
You bend a tree when it is still very young.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's at this moment that I'm trying to bend my tree.
Train up a child in the way he should go.
So when they grow
when
up,
he grow up, he will not deviate. He will not go away from it.
And the Bible is saying a child, and we know the child is someone who's below 18 years.
Okay.
They're not saying train an adult, they're saying a child.
Yeah,
So
it's
if you
easier to
don't-
mentor a boy than to wait and mend a man.
You know? So as a parent, we need to be very deliberate and know, what do I want? What's the purpose for my family? If I take up this job, what are the risks? What are the benefits? So you have to weigh and see, what am I going to benefit? What am I going to lose? Because you might want to chase money, but lose your family. You might want to chase that job and then lose your family. Not a job, you can be replaced on a job, but you can never be replaced on your family.
Say that again.
You can be replaced immediately on a job, but with your family, that can never be.
If you don't mind, kindly say it again another time.
You can be replaced on a job, but you can never be replaced in your home. Your
You
family can never
can be replaced on a job, but you can't be replaced in your own family. That is extremely profound. You see, at that workplace, things can be different. You can get a different job. You can be fired. You can go away, and so on and so forth. And or even you can die, God forbid. But you know, that's a reality. And in the next just few days or even hours, there will be somebody in acting capacity. There will be a replacement. before you are even buried, there will be a replacement. We've seen it.
It happened recently.
We've seen it many times, even here in Uganda. High-profile people, somebody dies, and even before they bury him, the elections are already going on. They have to first replace him, even before the burial. So your workplace, you can easily be replaced. You are replaceable. You are not indispensable. But when it comes to your family, you are irreplaceable. When you leave that family, when you go away, the children can't go to a supermarket nearby and buy a new dad to be in acting capacity. No way. They cannot go to their neighbor and acquire a new mom just because for you went away to do these other things. So I think that's a profound truth that Dickson has just mentioned. That in the workplace, you can so easily be replaced. But in the life of your children, you just cannot be, you are irreplaceable. And I think when we remember that, it should make us to make some tough decisions as far as the long-distance marriage arrangement is concerned. That leads me to ask, is there something to do with the timing that we should think about? For example, is there a wrong time to be in a long-distance marriage, or timing may not make sense?
I think there's a wrong time. We give examples.
And after you've shared that, we will again take just a little short break, and then we come with the practical how-tos to make the long-distance marriage work. So, timing.
There's a wrong time which comes with poor planning.
Poor planning.
Yes. For example, you know that I am going to get married and I'm going to be out of this country for maybe another period of time, which is like a year or more. And then you don't plan very well during your courtship of how you're going to mitigate that.
Yes.
So you don't even think about sending money back home to take your spouse to find you where you are. So the wrong timing comes in when you have purpose to be apart from your family
without planning. So if there is no prior planning for that long distance marriage arrangement, and you go without any good preparations put in place, what's going to happen to your wife? What's going to happen to your husband? What's going to happen to your children?
How often
Who
should
will
we
take
meet?
care of what? How often should we meet? If you haven't done that, regardless of when, it's a wrong time.
It's a wrong timing. Because you know that there's different factors that lead you to distance marriage.
Yes.
So some of them are always inevitable because it might be beyond your control.
Yes.
But at least even then, have a schedule, have a planning in place between the two of you.
Yes.
Plan and say, you know what? Now that this one is beyond our control, because for example, we are talking of army.
Yes.
Or maybe because of health reasons.
Yes.
You must go out of the country for further treatment, of better treatment, or for further education. Now, if you don't plan very well, what will happen?
What will happen?
I gave you an example of our family. We had 3 children. By the way, we got our children in 3 children almost less than 5 years.
4 years, yes.
Now you can. So they were very young, but we agreed when an opportunity for a scholarship came. I told my wife, you know what? I would rather resign from my job, but for you do what? You go. Because you may not have this money tomorrow or this opportunity, because sometimes the chances knock once. I told her, you just go and leave me here. I am going to be here, and I will take care of these children.
And on that point, we are taking a break. And when we come back, he will complete that story. What happened? How did he manage? Because the wife now leaves, she goes away to study, and here he is with 3 children that were produced in 4 years. The eldest is 4 years. And here he is alone. Young man in his marriage, not even 5 years in his marriage. 3 children on the table, wife away. And so the long distance marriage has to work at the same time. He is single-handedly parenting his children. You could be in that kind of a situation or somewhere close to that. We are taking a break, and when we come back for the last lap of this program, we are going to be talking about how do you make your long distance marriage work? Because at the end of the day, it has to work. It just has to work. Once you start it, you have to make it work. Once you get into it, you have to make it work. Take us to the practical how. So if I am in a long distance marriage, For all the different reasons we've talked about and many more we haven't talked about, how do I make it work?
Yeah, thank you so much. And by that, it's possible to make it work.
Yes, of course. Many have done it.
Yeah, and that possibility must be intentional and deliberate. There's no choice. So it is the two of you to agree on how this one is going to work. Because as we said, some factors are beyond your control. You have nothing to do about it. So how do you make sure that you and your spouse are in it and you're in agreement and you have fully accepted and you have to move on so that you can thrive with your family and things remain together without nothing, without anything separating you for life. One, when someone is far from you, open the channels of communication.
Open channels of communication.
Yeah. Let it be very clear, effective, consistent, and constant. Because there are people just, as we already mentioned, some people just communicate and somewhere there they disappear.
Yes.
So let it be very consistent. And these days actually are so much gifted with a lot of chances that you can use to opportunities of communication with your spouse. We can do WhatsApping. Like for me, when my wife was out of the country, WhatsApp had just come by. It wasn't so much common. But every day we talk, we record messages, and then we exchange. Then that time we had Skyping. We had Skyping, so we used to Skype a lot in the night. Now there's Zoom. Microsoft, so that's Teams, Microsoft Teams is there, Zoom is there. There are other video conferencing channels that are many. So even you can also use WhatsApp now to do a video conferencing and you talk to your spouse. So there's no excuse. So make sure that every day, at least on a regular basis, communicate to your spouse. Every day. Every day.
Yes.
Send a text message, and even not only spouse, but if you let's say family now, let's now take it to a family level. Basically, talk to your family, your children, your people at home, even your relatives, your siblings and your parents. They also need you.
But beginning with your wife or your husband.
Yeah, your immediate Jerusalem.
That's there from there.
Yes. So make sure that your family, your immediate family, feels you. And by the benefit of, I was looking at some of the benefits that they talk about with long distance marriage is that emotionally it brings you close. That's the one of the benefits.
Interesting.
That emotionally you become so close.
How does that happen?
Because you're communicating a lot more than if you're together. You're sharing feelings every time you're sharing whatever is happening, thoughts. And
I am missing you. I can't wait for when you return.
So communication, but also you as a couple. I already talked about agreeing on the time frame. Agree on the time frame. Yes. When are you going? When are you going to be coming back? Yes. How often? Because when you're apart, visiting each other might be expensive. So now
depending on where you are and the length of the distance.
On the distance. So agree. For us, when we were stay up country and she was here, we agreed. And actually, for me, I was working over the weekend. So most of the weekend should be they want to travel. Yes. Because I had to be on work. But also, I also had to agree with her. And also in a month, if you come twice a month, I also make sure that at least once in a month, I come that side. Because it had to be a two-way. So agree on who will be traveling when. And then if it has a big cost implication, also agree on it. How are we going to make sure that there's no financial crisis as we're doing this? Yes. Also, as a couple, make sure that you meet each one's emotional needs. And that comes with what we're talking about. The different things you do, even when you're not together. Yes. I have a friend of mine who is already out of the country, and he was sharing with us this week that from what he does with coding and what they make sure they do activities together at the same time. They watch a movie together. How? When you say together, explain. Together, because they are far apart. Out of the country. So when you say together, for example, if there is a movie to be watched, they can do a Zoom, and then they share the screen. It's happening at the same time. Yes. They pray together. And nowadays online, most things are now done online. So pray together online. If you don't have a Zoom link, there's Google Meet for you, free of charge. Of course. So do that. So do certain activities together, so they bond. They make you bond, even when you are apart. But that's emotionally, you keep together. Yes. Also, make sure that you, as a father, you pray for your children. You keep checking with your children now and then, and even your spouse, because your spouse is the primary person in this thing. Yeah, so make sure that you keep at least close to your children. And also minimize when you have come to visit your family, when you're close, then silence electronics.
Electronics, gadgets, phones, laptops, tabs.
And then maximize that time. If it's just like 2 weeks, 2 days or 3 days or 1 month of
yes.
Make sure that you are together with your family. Don't allow other people to come and intrude and interfere with your time.
Talking about that, Dickson. My son came back from abroad. So they all come. They all come and fill the house. The time when you're supposed to be once again bonding with your wife,
you're going back.
The whole village is in your house. I heard about somebody, for her, what she would do, she would not tell them, the relatives, the in-laws, that her husband was coming back. Instead, the husband would come back like on a Monday. He stays there, and then she tells them like on a Thursday or Friday, say, by the way, he came back, he's here. So that at least they first spend some days together. So silencing the gadgets to maximize that time together, but also making sure you are putting away these many other people and prioritizing time with your family.
Don't travel from up country, from here going up country, and then on the plan, visiting farm, going for the wedding, but the whole weekend is gone, and then you're back. You'll have wasted time.
And then you claim you went to check on your wife or your husband. That cannot
work. So make sure that you create time, and then also for have support system. For me, I think that I'm born again, and I have many fellowships, and which actually helped me a lot. So make sure that you have people around you, either your relatives, and actually your children actually can be your very good support system. So when you have children at home, use them to make sure that you bond with them. You become their support system, but also become your support system. Also make sure that at that time you have fellowships. If you're a Christian, go for fellowships. Have other things that keep you busy.
Be busy in good and positive things.
So that you don't have this thing of thinking that, an idle mind is a workshop of the devil. So when you're idle, other things just crop in your mind, and then before you know it, you're stressed, you're depressed, and you have lost it. You don't have this even the zeal and the willingness even to check on your spouse. Again, also as a married person, when you always pray to God, pray and believe God for the best. And no, actually, for me, I always believe that when you are a Christian, good things happen to you. So read the Bible, pray to God, seek God in every situation, and God will put that storm down. He'll calm it down. So don't be anxious and say, where can I run to? What could I do? No. God is there. Read the word of God and pray and seek God.
All right.
Again, as when you just there, make sure that you also look for other things. Maybe make sure that your children are also not idle. When they come back from school, make sure that they don't feel like, now what do we do that is not here? No one is taking care of us. No, give them responsibilities at home.
So now that you are not there, how do you give them responsibilities? By remote?
No. You the mother who's at home. I mean the spouse who's at home.
The spouse who is at home. Whether
because
the mother
you see, when as you're also trying to announce your own challenges personally, you also have, especially when you have children, you have these children. Also take care of them and meet their all their needs holistically, because for them everything is sharing to them.
They are also struggling with not having a parent around.
Around them. So make sure you also keep them busy. Give them things that can keep them busy, but also show them real love and use positive or affirmative words. I love you. When you call, when you're far away and you're calling, tell them I love you. I am far away, but even if I'm far away, I am doing ABC. Let them know what you're doing and explain. Be open to them, so they know that our dad went for a job. Our dad,
they can't tell what it is.
If they can't tell what it is, then they will always be insecure.
All right. So, do you have any specific message for the men, particularly who are in long distance marriage? In just 1 minute, and we close the program.
Now, my fellow men, we are the ones who marry and bring these ladies to our lives. So now, if it is you that is leaving this lady, that means you are not maybe either ready for marriage or you are creating problems for yourself. Now that you had a very clear plan of how you want to get married, and maybe we started talking about leadership, and we said leadership is about guidance and strategic direction. So it is now your responsibility as a man to make sure that you are giving clear guidance and direction, and make sure that your presence is felt even when you are far away from your family physically. And every marriage succeeds very well or stays very well when a couple stays together. So where things can work out and there's a possibility, don't allow that distance marriage to happen. And if it has happened beyond your control, create time to be with your family. Agree with your spouse. Agree with your family. That much as I'm not here, but on these particular days, I'll be coming to check on you. So don't just leave your family apart. Create a gap. You already talked about someone who went and after 1 week and is out for 1 year, has never come back.
Yeah.
It means maybe that person was not yet ready for marriage.
Actually, the girl left.
Now you can imagine. So do you blame the girl? No. So if you're a man and you're not going to be out of the country for these reasons, agree with your spouse and always create time and come back. If it's because of your job, agree with your job, but with your employer, that yes, I love my job, but my family comes first. Cherish your family beyond anything. So always give time. Let them allow you to always come back and check on your time. Check on your family. Give them time, quality time when you come back. Don't just come and then you're everywhere like MTN. Be with your family.
We are going to give you an invoice. You are passing some adverts for some companies. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen who have been watching, I have heard what he just said a few minutes ago, about 2 minutes ago, saying, don't allow that long distance marriage to happen. I heard that statement. And then he said, but where you can't avoid it, then. So I think that's a critical thing, that to the best of our ability, we should keep together as husband and wife. But knowing the world we are in, a number of times that won't be possible.